Yes, yes. Welcome to Conversations of the Heart. It is your boy, it's your host, T. Till. Today we are going to be having a special guest, very special guest, Saphrona McLennon of the Sophia Alexandria Foundation. Um, we're going to be getting into, you know, different topics about her journey as a cancer mom, you know, and about her foundation and about her daughter's book, So I'm definitely looking forward to having her on the show. Marino, what's going on, brother? How you doing, bro? You good? I hope all is well, man. All right. See that she's in here. Yo, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate you tuning in, bro. This is gonna be another amazing show with an amazing person. So I hope you enjoy it, man. Just waiting for Saphrona to tap in. Infinite Life. Shout out to Infinite Life. Appreciate you joining in, bro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me see if I can get Saphrona in. All right, I see her in here. Let me see. So waiting for the tap in. Saphrona,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good.
Good, good. Definitely. Thank you. Well, first, thank you for popping in, joining the show. I really do appreciate it. Um, you're somebody that I've always thought of, and I said, man, I really want to get you on the show to tell your story, and to tell the story of your amazing daughter. But first, how have you been? How are you doing amongst all of the madness, the pandemic, all of the social injustice, the unrest? It's a lot of things going on today. So I just wanted to just know just how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there trying to maintain. It's a lot of madness.
Hmm.
With Corona, I feel like
Hmm.
I'm used to being quarantined, so it's kind of
Right,
normal for me.
right.
So right now we're just maintaining until after the election, see, if we're gonna have more madness.
Yeah, and that's probably a guarantee will absolutely happen. And it's interesting, like when I look at your situation and your story, the one thing I know is that you kind of went right into the new year, right? After the unfortunate passing of your daughter, you went right into pretty much a full-blown pandemic. And then everything else that kind of happened with that. So we'll circle back to that. But really, I really want to know about the Zofia Alexandria story. She was an amazing young girl. And I know that's that's just one of the things that we're here to talk about. So just take us through just who she is, or who she was, excuse me, her journey, um, and just what she meant to you.
Oh Lord.
I
Well,
know.
I have my tissues.
Oh no, don't do this to me out here. Oh man. Oh man.
Well, to backtrack,
Yeah.
Sophia Alexandria, my daughter, was amazing. She was a miracle. She was courageous. She was diagnosed with brain cancer at the age of 2.
Yeah.
And after a 4-year battle, she passed away on Christmas Sunday. So of
Mm-hmm.
2019. But throughout
Mm-hmm.
the journey, um, doctors has given her 1 day to live. They gave her 4 days to live, and she always bounced back. I never
Mm-hmm.
really expected what happened on Christmas Sunday to happen, but
Right.
unfortunately, that was the outcome. But throughout the
Right.
journey, she was courageous. She did things that, was unexpected. The life
Mm-hmm.
expectancy for her disease was maybe about 9 months after,
Wow.
yeah, around 6 to 9 months after diagnosis. We did get 4 years. So,
Mm-hmm.
happy with that. But she was a miracle.
Mm-hmm. And just well, first, like when you sent me the text, um, on around Christmas, like I was kind of floored, just
Mm-hmm.
because of first of all, it's Christmas and you don't expect it, right? But the one thing that you told me was that she went out on her own terms,
Yes.
and I was just like, wow. No, because that was super powerful for me to just see because coming from a mother, I was like, wow, like that's to me that was a lot of strength for you to even write those, to even text that to me. I was just like, I can't even imagine just what you were going through at that point in time. But then even to just type that, I was just like, you probably just one of the strongest people I know. To be honest, I was just like, wow.
Well, thank you. She did go on her own terms. She was on life support. They gave her medicine and they said, she would fall asleep for a little bit and then she would wake up. She never
Hmm.
woke up. Um, they said that she was brain dead. They did a couple of tests and declared her brain dead. Her heart was still beating. All her vitals was great. They wanted me to
Hmm.
take her off life support. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Right, of course
And
not.
like, how can you do that? So
Hmm.
their time of death and date is different from my date. So
Right.
on Christmas Sunday, they had planned to take her off the Monday. And then
Right.
that Sunday, my brother came, my mom was there, it was just us.
Hmm.
And then I told the family, I was like, people wanted to come and it was too much because they didn't understand what I was going through. So I told them
Right.
no. I said that's my day with my child, my last moments, and it literally was. And I didn't even know what I was saying until things kind of played out. So
Hmm.
that Sunday, my brother went to church and he, oh my goodness, like what is happening? Like all her vitals, because when they say when your brain's dead, like the brain is not telling the body certain things, so your vital signs are wacky. So you're
Right.
seeing like things are just going crazy. On a normal person, everybody would come running into the room. Like no one came running in. So
Hmm.
that Sunday, I'm like, oh my God, like what is happening? And then, I said, Zoe, you wait. Like I literally was
Hmm.
talking to her as if she was alive. Tell her to wait. I'm like, Uncle is coming. Do you know everything calmed down? And I was like, wow. I said, you're
Wow.
in there. So, in my mind, like I never thought that things would go the way they did. I still thought she was going to wake up.
Right.
So he got there. And when he got there, like we prayed and everything. And then it just, her heart
Uh-huh.
stopped. And it was like, wow, like she waited for that moment for who was always there for her to be there at that
Right.
moment. So she did it on her
Wow.
own terms, and I didn't have to have the burden of pulling the plug because, it just
Hmm.
sounds so insensitive, and I couldn't do it,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't do it. So I let the hospital, since
Right.
they, I feel, had something to do with this whole mess and wasn't completely honest with me about stuff. I wasn't going to be
Hmm.
the one to say, "Oh, I'm going to take my child off." No, I'm not going to do that. So they
Right.
forced me into a corner, and I still was like, I'm not doing it. But then she took the burden for me, and she did it on her own, how she wanted it. So,
Wow.
I had to thank her for that and thank her for waiting for Uncle.
Right. Yeah,
And
of course.
that was how that happened on Christmas Sunday. And Christmas is like the biggest time of the year for her and for us. So she went
Hmm.
out on that holiday. So it's like she always did things on her own terms anyway. Like that's just who she was. I
Right.
mean, I can laugh at that statement, but it's a sad situation. But
Yeah.
she always did what she wanted to do.
Mm. And so when I've seen, just with the videos, the pictures and everything, she was seemed always resilient, very resilient kid. Always, smiling, having fun. Um, and that always seemed to just be who she was. She was like a beacon of light, even for people, of course, who knew her, but even for people who never got a chance to meet her, she was always that bright smile, that bright light, and being an inspiration at such a young age, in the midst of what she was going through. Would you say that's pretty accurate?
I mean, that's very accurate. I mean, Zoe was the type of kid that she never complained, you know, and she always wanted to do things. And no matter what happened and no matter what we were going through and
Hmm.
how she felt, because there's times that she's gotten so much medicine throughout the day and then, she
Hmm.
would take a nap and then, oh, I'm bored. What are we doing today? I want to go out. And I'm like, after all that, you want to go outside? So
Wow.
she always wanted to do things and she was genuinely a happy kid. And you can't fake that as a parent to say the child is happy or not happy because most of the time she was always smiling. And like I said, she never complained.
Hmm. Wow.
I most kids would complain that they're sick. If she told me that something wasn't right, I always
Hmm.
listened to her because for the most part she was always okay.
Hmm. Um, and so it's interesting now, the book, Miracles Can Happen.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, like I like when I heard about the book, I thought like that you were writing the book like for her and stuff like that. But then when you was like, no, like she started the book um previously, and I was and that blew my mind. How did that come about? Like did she say like I want to write a book, mom? Like how did that even come about?
Well, the whole thing with the book, there is a organization that helped with this book, Books That
Hmm.
Can Heal, and they were
Hmm.
a contributor. So she had the opportunity to write a book and to draw the pictures and tell her own story.
Wow.
This came about while she was in the hospital.
Hmm.
So she was very excited that she was gonna, have a book, and I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna be an author!" Like she was happy, and then, obviously things didn't happen for her to finish what she
Right.
started. So
Hmm.
the ending had to be changed, and instead of her
Hmm.
drawing, we used her photos.
Right.
But she's still
Um.
the author of the book. So
100%. But just for, somebody, that small to have, just say, hey, that they're gonna write a book, like, I didn't reach that point until oh, I'm not gonna tell my age, but I'm in my mid thirties. And I didn't even really reach that point even for myself to say, what, I think I write a book or something until I was maybe a couple of years ago, So to have somebody that young, just to say, hey, you know what, that they're gonna write a book and they've written a book and they've left the imprint and a legacy, that I know that is going to be inspiring generations. Because when I looked at the book, when I bought the book and I got it, and I looked at it and I read it, I was like this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. So, well, first of all, tell people where they can get the book, please, because I want everybody to
the
get this book.
the book Miracles Can Happen. You can get it
Yes.
on our webpage at Zoefia Alexandria
Hmm.
Foundation.org. It's also available on
Hmm.
Amazon. It's also available at bookscanheal.org. So,
Hmm.
you know, there's three places you can get the book. I'm working
Hmm.
on getting it in other places. I'm never gonna stop working on her stuff.
Of course
So
not. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it will be in bookstores and you can just go and grab it off the shelf. That is the goal. But for
Mm-hmm.
now, you can get it on the website or you can get it
Mm-hmm.
from Amazon, whatever is easier.
100%. And I want people to really go out there and get this amazing book, support this amazing young girl who did a lot in her young age that even some people that are older has never even accomplished yet, and so I think that's super important. So Brian's, oh, my brother's on here. He said, I've never had the pleasure to meet her, but seemed like such an amazing a little girl who touched so many lives at such a young age. And I mean that's absolutely true. Um, so pivoting to the Zofia Alexandria Foundation, when did you start it? Like what's the goal? Like just tell, I know you told me personally about it, but just tell everybody, the listeners, about, how you started it, when you started it, and kind of just what the goals are.
Well, the Zofia Alexandria Foundation, when Zofia passed away, it was like the worst time of my life. And
I
I,
know.
I sometimes still feel that it's the worst time, but I really just try to keep myself busy because,
That's
it
normal.
hasn't even been a year yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After everything happened, if like 10 days later, I said, I wanted to do a foundation. And I think 10 days later, I filed the paperwork. I know people thought I was crazy. People that I
Mm-hmm.
knew said, wait a year. But I felt that it was now or never. So I started it. And the mission of the foundation is to honor her life, her legacy with brain cancer, and also enrich the lives of cancer kids and their families.
Mm.
So um, all my paperwork and everything came back right before shutdown. So I'm like, wow,
Look at
when
that.
I started everything in January, while I was waiting on the paperwork, I was
Mm-hmm.
working on the webpage. And, I
Mm-hmm.
was on a leave from work. And for 3 months, all I did was work on her page day and night, day and night. Like some nights I was
Mm-hmm.
literally up almost 24 hours. So
Mm-hmm.
what you see now is like 3 months worth of work. So
Wow.
just when I was about to be almost finished with the page, everything came in. I'm like, oh my God, we're in business. I'm like, we're like legit. So then it
Wow.
was, when do we launch? And Easter was another one of her favorites. I thought that was a perfect day to launch the page in the middle of
Mm-hmm.
Corona. And
Mm-hmm.
again, some said, maybe you should wait. And I said, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to launch. This is one of her favorite holidays. And
Mm-hmm.
I launched it on Easter Sunday in the middle of
Wow.
Corona. And we've
Mm-hmm.
been pretty much nonstop. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I never knew like all of this would have happened in such a short period of time, but it came
Right.
together and it came together like effortlessly.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it was just meant to be.
It's meant to
You
be.
know,
Mm-hmm.
here we are.
Um, and so how can people donate to this foundation? Because I really want people to donate to the foundation and support you and support Zofia. So, how can people really donate?
To donate to the page, they just have to go to ZophiaAlexandriaFoundation.org. You can donate there.
Mm-hmm.
We're also on GuideStar if people feel uncomfortable with donating to a charity that's not legit, because we are a 501c and
Yes,
you
you are.
have to be a 501c to be on GuideStar. So they
Mm-hmm.
can go there. You can come to our page. It's also PayPal. We're also on Facebook. There's so many ways to donate, but we do
Mm-hmm.
have 7 programs. And with our programs, everything goes back to the families. So
Mm-hmm.
what I feel is different about her foundation and her page
Mm-hmm.
is that everything is authentically her. Like
Right.
everything that I'm giving back to families or trying to do, she's done
Mm-hmm.
or we've done together, and the
Right.
pictures are all there. So I'm not trying to offer something to a family and it's like selling a dollar in a dream. No, we did it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
all her. Like everything is authentically her.
Right. Right. Um, And when I was on the page itself, like I was looking at all like the different types of donations that you can do. Some is for education, some are for like trips or just recreational things. There's just many different ways that you could donate to this foundation, and I think it's incredible. And what I think that's so good about what you're doing is that it's legit like all about her. Um, Everything that you've done is truly it's all about her, in her name, in her honor, of course, as it should be. But I think that that's amazing, for you, because you could have done it various different ways, as many different foundations do, and there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. But you are absolutely doing it in her honor for these families. So I just want to say, this is amazing. I think that you're doing an incredible job so far with this foundation, just being up less than a year, and you've already been doing some incredible things. I think that it says that you just won an award, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think it's what
For
Helping Hands.
yes. I got the
Ah.
Helping Hands Award at work. I really didn't expect it. And,
Hmm.
before the foundation, well, I'm still doing Helping Hands at work. I am the coordinator there
Wow.
for like organizing different
Hmm.
charity things. Like we do go out and cook for families at the Ronald McDonald House. We donate toys. We do different
Hmm.
things throughout the year there.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty much the coordinator of doing different things to raise money amongst the group and raffles and
Hmm.
different things at work. So I never didn't expect to win that for my own foundation. I didn't even know about it.
Hmm.
And to get it in September, it was pretty cool to get that. So I was happy, you know.
Hmm. Well, I mean, obviously, you deserve it. So, if anybody deserves it, it is you.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
so talk to me about you, about your journey. Because look, I remember years ago, I think I remember telling my mom this over and over again since I was like in my early 20s. I never understood how kids um get cancer. I never understood why they get cancer. I never like it. It's something. Truthfully speaking, this is real. I thought it was so cruel. And this is from, I mean, I was like young. I used to tell, because, I've been around people sick. I've been around, just many different things in my life, and I've seen things. But that's the one thing that I could never wrap my head to understand. I always thought that it was cruel. And I always used to just question God about so many things about that. And I said, I don't understand. I said, of all the things, the people, and I said, I don't understand why young kids. And I've been asking this question since as young as I could remember because it baffled me. It really bothered me. Um, and so I can only imagine as a parent, you kind of going, well, or maybe not, but kind of going through those same kind of questions in your head. But in your journey, as a cancer, as you would call it, a cancer mom, like how were you able to navigate that every day? Because what I know is that you were engaged and in it. Like you weren't like you weren't just like, I'm here, but like you were like, I'm here every day. I'm in it 24/7, 365. Even in spite of myself, I'm here. Hmm. I know it's hard. And if you don't want to answer, please, I listen, we can move on. But um, it's a journey, and it was a rough one. And I think that many people don't really understand the toll that it takes on the family member. Of course, the subject is always, because I know, the subject is always the person that's going through, you know, of course, as it should. But the toll it takes on the actual person that's taking care is something that people don't really understand, and being a mother is something different.
I mean, it's the whole 4 years was a journey. Even when she was diagnosed, before that she wasn't well, and we told them, oh, something's not right, because she started to just not eat, and we
Mm-hmm.
found out later that, you know, with the brain tumor, it affects your eating. Told the pediatrician something's not right. Oh, nothing's wrong with her. She told me she had a
Mm-hmm.
behavioral problem. I'm like, a behavioral problem? She
Mm-hmm.
was a sweet, happy kid. So
Right.
I'm like, if she's not eating something not right, then she got really, really skinny. And then
Mm-hmm.
it looked like I wasn't feeding her. And I'm like, oh my God, like, because they ran different tests. And then they told me that she was fine. And I'm like, she's not fine.
Mm-hmm.
I bought
Right.
every food on the market. And I even have a photo to this day. I bought one of everything. She wouldn't eat nothing.
Mm.
What happened was, one day I went to work. I was at work, and my mom watched her. My mom lives in Florida, actually. She stayed in New
Mm-hmm.
York to help me with Zoe because she wasn't well.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't eating, and then they told me, she needed to go and to a feeding program to learn how to eat. So I'm
Mm.
like, a feeding program? I've never heard that. Went to a feeding program, drove to Jersey for 6 weeks. She still wouldn't eat. So they were like, oh, she's the cream of the crop. No one ever
Mm.
found our program. Like, my child's not a failure. There's
Mm-hmm.
a reason why she's not eating.
Right.
So after that whole program, and we're home and we're there every day trying to get her to eat, and she wouldn't eat. She got to a point where she couldn't stand. So my mom called me at work and was like, something is not right. Like, she got a little off balance. So I'm like, huh? So I left work now. I'm always running out of work. Thank God I still have a job. So I left work,
Mm-hmm.
and then I took her to a different pediatrician. And then she said she wanted to do blood work. So I had to go and take her to do blood work. Now I was going into the weekend, so I wouldn't get the results back until like the Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So then like a day later, like
Mm-hmm.
she couldn't stand up. Like, her knees were buckling, and she just couldn't. She wanted to go up in the bed, like she couldn't stand up.
Wow.
So we ended up going to a hospital, and I went to a different hospital this time, because what I didn't tell you was, like, with all this, oh, she wasn't eating, I was bringing her to the hospital. I got thrown out the hospital, and I went back every week for a month. They told me nothing is wrong with her. They called her pediatrician, and the pediatrician was like, oh, I know Zoefia, nothing is wrong with her. And they sent me home. So
Wow.
naturally, I'm going to go off. The
Mm-hmm.
doctor laughed at me, oh, nothing's wrong with her. You're a new mom. And they threw me out. 4 times I got thrown out the hospital or sent home because nothing is wrong with her, because I'm quote unquote a new mom. So now when we're at a point where she's not standing, and then we go to another hospital, I said, let me go to St. Mary's. I didn't know St. Mary's like an inpatient stay. So we ended
Right.
up at St. Mary's, and we saw some lady in the parking lot. I said to my mom, I said, what? It's so dark, like, with the emergency
Mm-hmm.
room, there was nothing going on. And this
Right.
lady came out of nowhere, and then she told us, I asked her, I'm like, where's the emergency room? She said, oh, this is extended stay. It's not a hospital you go to for emergency. You have to go to Cohen's. I'm like, I never even heard
Mm.
of Cohen's. So,
Right.
I said, okay, thanks. When I turned around, the woman was gone. So I'm like, oh, the woman was God sent, because we ended up at Cohen's. We
Right.
waited 5.5 hours in the emergency room, not
Yeah.
knowing the news that we were going to get. Then in the emergency room, she wasn't running a fever, but she didn't
Mm-hmm.
look right. So my mom went back
Right.
and forth with the triage nurse. And then she said,
Mm-hmm.
oh, normally we don't do this, but we're just going to bring her back.
Mm-hmm.
So, they brought her in. We were sitting there for 5.5 hours. We finally got back there. We kind of skipped some people, I guess. And then they did it. They said they had to do a scan based on what we told them. And I had to like lay with her for her to fall asleep to do the scan. And then they came in and started connecting all types of stuff, told me to sit down. And then the
Mm.
doctors told us that she had a brain tumor, and they needed to do emergency surgery. And then my mom was like, we need a second opinion. His exact phrase, she's gonna die. So I was like, then they had to do emergency surgery, 3 o'clock
Mm.
in the morning. And then he said
Wow.
that if they didn't do it, she had a day to live because the brain tumor blocked the spinal fluid, like it was up to here pretty much. And then
Ooh.
that could make you fall asleep, and she could have fell asleep and not woke up. So he said she could have died in the waiting area. And then that's when we found out like the cancer had spread down her spine and she had a big tumor in her tailbone. That's why she couldn't stand up. So all this time when they're telling me that she had a behavior problem, that's why she wasn't eating, and
Mm,
no one really did their job, but I'm that crazy mom that got thrown out the emergency
mm-hmm.
room and laughed at when my
Right.
child was dying. See, that dries up my tears quick because then when I get angry now, it's
Angry.
like I'm always that crazy mom, but they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
It's so disheartening because it's so important that we have to be our own advocates, for either our family members, our kids, like, or for ourselves, because even, just as Black people and Black women especially, it's like they don't diagnose correctly, right? Or they don't take you seriously, right? And so it's like there's a lot of misdiagnosis and things like that, especially in the Black community, so for you, like, you knew that something wasn't right,
Hmm.
and you being the mama bear that you are, um, you had to be the advocate because your daughter couldn't be for herself. Um, and it definitely saved her life, as far as, for her living, these 4 years. And now we have the book and the foundation, and all of these things were birthed because of the actions that you took. Um, so I think this is an incredible example, for people, to be advocates for your kids, to be advocates for your brother, for your sister, for your mother, for yourself. If you don't feel comfortable at a certain doctor, get a second opinion, third opinion, do what you got to do, to get the right diagnosis and to get the right care for yourself. So again, like you're an amazing mom. Like you did the right things. Where some people could have just walked away, and said, okay, um, but you said, no, something's just not right. I know my daughter. I know something is not right. So again, that is, hats off to you for being the mama bear that you are. Let me
Well,
see.
thanks.
Dean Morgan said, caregivers are so very important, as you are an example of a great one. And I couldn't put it any better myself, you know, because of the journey, um, for you, for those 4 years, um, every day. But I think you told me one time that the journey was a little easier because of how Zoe was, right? Because she was so happy, because she was a light, right? That made your job, I won't say easier, but it just, like, you were able to go harder because of her and because of the way that she lived her life, right?
I
So,
mean, she told me as I will keep fighting if you keep fighting. Like she was always that driving force, and
mhm,
she was a happy kid. She wanted to do things. She wanted to live, you know, and she was a
mhm,
fighter. No matter what was going on, she was just like I didn't really understand it at times, you know. She went through so much. She had brain surgery, and the next day was up dancing. Like, you know, they have these cribs, and she's up dancing in the crib. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't think I would be able to handle that. She was very resilient.
mm,
But, you know, throughout the journey, I feel like she was just full of life that sometimes you forget for a moment that she was even
she,
sick because she always said that she wasn't sick. She's like, I'm not sick. Jesus is making me better, you know?
wow,
So
wow,
you couldn't tell her
wow,
that she was sick.
wow, man. It's so
Yeah,
funny that you said that a day after brain surgery, she was up dancing in her crib and stuff like that. And it's funny, as a man, sometimes you catch a cold and I can't even move for the day. I'm done. I'm done. Fever, I'm finished. You're not getting nothing from me today. But to have somebody who was so young to have that much energy, that much life, to even after brain surgery, like to say, hey, like I'm still full of the joy and I'm gonna live and dance. Um, like there is no tomorrow, right? And she provided you with that. You know, man, that was so amazing. And just to see, even at the services, um, how many people that were there, right? How many people were there? Like you would think like the person lived like 30 years or more because of the impact that she made. She was 4 years old. It's four, four. Now people gotta understand, like it's like, wow. And the people that were there to show so much love and the hearts that she touched, um, it spoke volumes to who she was. And as far as green, now green was her favorite color, right? Was because the
Yes.
foundation is green, like everything is greened out. And I was like, yo,
Green is
this
her
is
favorite
amazing.
color.
And it's just like my mother, her favorite color is green too. But like everybody knew her favorite color, everybody wore her favorite color, everybody was there in unison for her. Um, and it just shows like how she infused love, laughter, light into everybody's life, you know, and that they showed up there at a packed church, like, what I mean? And it was just like, and I was amazed by it. And I was just like, wow, to leave a legacy at that young age, you could only hope to do so. And as you live in life, that you live that type of legacy, for people to come out for you the same way. I mean, it was amazing.
The service was amazing. I mean, honestly, I didn't really know exactly how many people were coming, and it was more than I expected. We even ran out of program. I think I had 150 program. We had over 200 people show up, and it was all different races. It was from different periods of her life. And one
Yes.
would think, okay, she was sick for 4 years, but for a 6-year-old to have that many people
Hmm.
come out and be supportive. And I've had people come up to
Yeah.
me in church that I didn't know that said that they knew her and they were inspired. So,
Hmm.
you know,
Yep.
that was a beautiful
Hmm.
thing. In regards to her
Um.
green,
Hmm.
she is very adamant about what she likes. I dressed her up in all pink. And I have to tell this story because this is just who she was as a kid. I dressed her up in
Please.
all pink.
Hmm.
That's my favorite color. And she looked at herself, all pink? We need to talk. She's like, sit down, we need to talk. And I'm like, oh. Said Zoe. And in her sweet little voice told me, I don't want to disappoint you because you love me so much, but I don't like pink, okay? Green is my color. And I said,
Wow.
and I had to tell her, I would never be disappointed because you don't like what I like. I love the fact that you know what you like and you want what you want. And she would say
Hmm.
it all the time. Mama love pink. I love green. Like if she got stuff and it was pink, this is not for me. They bought this for you.
Hmm.
They don't know that I don't like
Hmm.
pink. And I'm like, oh my God. So she knew who she was.
Hmm.
She was very adamant about what she liked, what she didn't like. She always stood her
Hmm.
ground. She was a fighter. And that's what I loved about her.
Hmm.
And
And
get my match.
um, listen, the one thing I do know is that if she's anything like you, she was anything like you got a mouth. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we've had our sparring sessions. When I was younger, I remember all of it, and I was here for all of it too. Um, I wanted all the smoke back then, So so I know that if she's a fighter, she's a fighter like you. Um, and that's something that to live a life for 6 years, but to be sick for more than half, right? Like to be sick for four of those 6 years, right? Um, to still be able to truly have that spunk and that fight in her is amazing. Um,
Yeah.
it's a testament to who she was. It's a testament to who you are. You know what I'm saying? So now after this whole, after the services and everything else, now is you jump right into the foundation, right? But I always say, everybody grieves differently, and it's okay to grieve. It's perfectly, people grieve for years on end. And it's okay that people aren't okay after someone passes. But the one thing that I know that you did was you finished the book, you had the foundation, and you had things to kind of, I won't say keep you busy, but just, to kind of keep you going, keep you motivated. I know that you have your hard parts because how could you not? You know, so the one thing I just for you, I just want to encourage you to just to keep doing what you're doing. And but don't forget about yourself at the same time, because you're needed here on this earth forever. Like we need people like you forever. And I'm dead
Well,
serious. People they lose themselves sometimes, and and I understand that, but for somebody like you who is passionate to do this work, to be on the front lines to do this work, um, you know, you can't forget you, no matter what, so if there's anything that I could tell you, if you need from me, like you got it, because you need to be sound mentally, emotionally, all types of ways. So I just wanted to say from me to you, whatever you need from me, I got you 100%. Because we need you here to do this work. Her
well, thank you.
story is amazing. You are amazing. Um, Now the type of brain cancer that she had it's called is it pinoblastoma?
Yes,
Am I saying it right?
yes.
Okay. Is that rare? It's a rare. Is it like a rare brain cancer, or is it?
It's rare and it's aggressive. Now, she, the first time when everything happened when she was two, she was in the hospital for about 8 to 9 months, and she
Hmm.
was completely cancer free. She was cancer free for about a year, and then it came back.
Hmm. Yeah,
When it
I
came
remember that.
back, she was on a steady drug, and it went away for a, maybe about a year later. It and it came back
Hmm.
again, and then the
Wow.
third time, it just when it came back, they told me there's nothing more they can do for her, and
Hmm.
it was it was a crazy day when I got that phone call, and it was crazy because I was actually coming from court,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I got full custody, and I'm like, oh, I got full custody. I was happy, and I'm like, I got that news. No, this
Hmm.
was the second time it came back. I was coming from court. I'm like, wow, like how ironic on the same day. My life is just crazy. That's why I have to put everything in a book because if I tell people how things played out, they would think that I was making it up. So I was coming from
Hmm.
court. I'm like, I just left court. One time happy with, full custody, and here I am, like my child cancer is back. Like I got that phone call on the same day. I'm like, wow. So I went in to do the study drug. She started that, and that was working for her. But then the third time
Hmm.
when it came back, it was very aggressive. So apparently, when you initially get cancer, it doesn't. It's very slow. I guess because it's new, and then they say that eventually gets smart. I don't. They call it like smart cells. It never really made sense, but it kind of makes sense in a way. Like when you
Hmm.
have it, and then it goes away. When you get it again, it I guess it's used to the drugs,
Hmm.
so it goes a little bit faster. So
Hmm.
then it went away, and then the third time it was just multiplying, like it just like spread out of control.
Wow.
So that third one is really what kind of did it. Like it never really went away. It started to go away, and then it didn't. Then
Hmm.
it started growing back, and then it got to the point that it put her in a coma. So and that was another thing too. It's like the second time it came back when the hospital told me there was nothing more they could do for her. And I literally, like, I came home and I'm like, I was in the bed crying for like a day. I'm like, I can't, this is not me. So I'm like,
Hmm.
the next day, I'm like, I went
Hmm.
to work and my boss was like,
Hmm.
what are you doing here? I was like, I'm here, but I'm not really here. So I'm like, I kid you not, I contacted every major hospital in the country, and my coworkers helped me also. That's why I'm like very grateful I still have a job,
That's
because
amazing. Hmm.
we contacted every major hospital. I faxed, I email, and found another study for her, and it was helping her, and then it stopped working. So it got to the point where they never really had a cure for this particular disease.
Hmm.
And we pretty much did everything. I've had samples sent all over, like samples is all over the country. All types of
Right.
tests has been run. Like her medical records are all over in different hospitals. And some people close the doors on us. I know some major facilities talking about they don't turn kids away. They do turn kids away. And that's another
Mm.
thing too I have to put out there, why we specifically give the money back to the families and for their well-being, and for their health and their lifestyle, for their memories, is because we were turned away. I had doors closed on me. I've had people tell me there's nothing more they can do. I had people
Hmm.
reject us who say they don't
Hmm.
reject people. So, do you think I'm going to spend my days and my time raising money for your research when you turned my child and left her for dead?
Wow.
And then, we're sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Because I don't do, I don't collect funding for research.
Right.
And that's why, because I know people have asked me about that, and then people get a little testy. And there's a lot of foundations out there, so if you don't feel comfortable giving to us because we give back to the families, that's okay. If you want
Hmm.
to fund research, that's fine. I feel like research failed us. I feel like research closed their doors on us. People that could have helped us didn't. So
Hmm.
am I going to put money in your pocket to do whatever it is that you claim that you're doing? No, I'm not. So,
Hmm.
later on down the line, facilities that did help us, that did work with us, if they
Hmm.
do have a study for punoblastoma, yeah, I would be happy to raise funds and to help fund that particular project and that
Hmm.
particular research. But just in general, our programs are specifically for the families. And, our motto is making moments count. So that's
Yes.
why if you look at our programs, everything has to do with the families,
Yes.
because you never
And
know
that's
when that moment is your last.
right. And like I said earlier, that's something that when I was looking at the foundation and I was looking at all the different things that you can donate to, I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was amazing. I thought that was different. I thought that was amazing, especially for the families, because it does provide the families with those particular moments for their child, right? Just as something as simple as an outing or recreational, something fun to do with your like with your children, or with their child. Um, those are memories that's gonna last a lifetime that you can never ever repay somebody for. So I absolutely agree. And that's why again I think people please go to the Zofia Alexandria Foundation.org. Um, please donate. Take a look at whatever program that you like. Please, absolutely donate something. It is everything is in Sophia's name, as it should be, and you are a trailblazer right now, and you're doing it your way. And obviously, and as you say, Sophia did it her way, right? And you can see where she got it from because you do it your way as well, right?
Well, thank you.
Um,
I mean, everything is on her timeline, because even things
mhm.
that we want to do, I know Christmas is a big time of the year. I thought about, wow, like, do I really want to do something and not do something? Because, I've been going at this since January. Like,
Yeah.
I need a little bit of a break, but
Yes, please do. Don't break yourself down now. Like get
but
get your mental health
I
on.
before I get into that, I must say, people grieve differently, and I'm
Yes.
very blessed to be able to do what I'm doing, because I think this is part of the grieving process.
Hmm.
And then there's actually real results. So I feel
Right.
like, had I waited a year later to put this
Hmm.
together, I don't know if it would have been put together the same way, because when I
Hmm.
started this, it was,
Hmm.
I was in here. I couldn't sleep. I'm up damn near 24 hours, and I'm like, and like I said, everything was just effortlessly. So everything was poured into the foundation. So what you see here is like, it's part of the process. It's all Zoefia, and it's all love, and it's all giving
Mm-hmm.
back to the families how, I felt is needed.
Mm.
So I know for the holidays, we are doing toys for the holidays for the kids. If you go on the
Okay.
page, people
Mm-hmm.
can send a toy for Christmas. Now, being that we are on Zofia's timeline, I am taking most of December off. So in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of December, we will be giving the toys out. Not sure how we're gonna do that. Yeah, we'll make it fun. Maybe a Christmas parade or something. I'll let you know if you can come
Yeah,
out
let me
and get
know.
something.
Let me
But
know. I'll be there.
you know, getting all the toys and stuff together, and the last part of December, we're gonna pretty much shut down, and it's gonna be her memorial. She was buried in January, so I will not return until after that date. So we're still on her clock.
Her time.
Yes.
And that's amazing. Um, so if a young person or younger person or just somebody in general were to come up to Saphrona and say, hey, listen, they're going through the same thing, or they just got a diagnosis with their child.
Hmm.
What advice would you give them? What would you tell them to do, or how to
Um,
handle the situation?
I would tell people, once your child is diagnosed with something and you don't know what it is, you have to
Hmm.
do your own research. You have to research, and you
Hmm.
have to advocate for them. I've seen people
Right.
leave their child in the hospital for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, where's the parent? Because you're there 24/7 and you walk around. I'm like,
Yeah.
then your nurses station, they're holding the child. And I'm like, where's the mother? Like, you can't do that. Once your child
Right.
is diagnosed and that's what it is, it affects everyone in the household. It affects the
Hmm.
family. And so everyone has to get involved. And I feel like the best thing you can do is to advocate for your child. Like, you have to
Hmm.
be their voice. She was at an age when she was 2, she couldn't speak and really communicate what was going on. And certain things
Hmm.
that she did, they labeled her as having a behavioral problem. No,
Hmm.
she was in pain but couldn't
Right.
express. So you have to know your child and know what's going on with them so that you can advocate for them and they can get the best care. Another thing too, I was never that yes person, yes woman, I guess, or like,
Really?
okay.
I didn't know that.
I can't just, they suggest something and like, okay, like I was not that person. I
Hmm.
don't think I would ever be that person, because if I was, she
No.
wouldn't be here. And I think that you need to challenge the doctor sometime, because when she
Hmm.
was first diagnosed, within that 8 to 9 months, they suggested doing things that I didn't agree with. And I
Right.
knew in my heart, if I did that, that she wouldn't be here. If
Right.
she wouldn't have made it as long as she did. And I told them
Hmm.
no. And they kept like, it's almost like a setup where they'll have this person talk to you and then this person talk to you. And I had to shut that down. And I said, listen, I'm not doing that. Stop sending different teams in here to speak to me like I'm illiterate.
Mm.
This is not going to happen now. Because she was
Wow.
at the age where they wanted to do radiation for full brain and spine. And at 2 years old, she
Mhm.
would have been severely brain damaged.
Right.
So I said, no, what happened to chemo? Go back to your books and figure it out. Then they wanted
Right.
to do stem cells, and they said they only do 2 stem cells. So I'm like, okay, if there's a little cancer left, why don't we do a third one? Oh, we've never done a third one. Well, maybe we should do a third one because you're not doing radiation. Now,
Mm.
stem cells are dangerous because they basically wipe your system out, and then you
Hmm.
have to wait for it to come back up. Now, with cancer kids, like if they get infections, that can kill them faster than the cancer. So what do you do as a
Right.
parent? It's like I made decisions for her, but they were never easy decisions, and it was kind of worse and worse type of thing. So it
Right.
was one of those situations where don't just take what they're telling you, because they
Hmm.
tend to do what would be easy for them. And I think that you
Hmm.
need to challenge the doctor and figure out, what are my options? Always know what your options are. So first you need to educate yourself on your child's
Hmm.
situation, know your child, and I think that you need to challenge your doctor, and don't be that yes parent to be like, okay, okay, because
Hmm.
then child's not going to be here. I've been in the hospital where I've seen kids die, and I'm like, oh my God, like I never wanted to be that parent, because I was in there
Right.
crying as if it was my child, like it's
Right.
very traumatic, because when you're in the hospital for 8, 9 months, you do get to know the families. The families
Yeah,
become families, because the truth is, you
it's
don't
true.
see your own family half the time. You don't see some of your
Hmm.
friends,
Hmm.
and so you get close with the people that you do see all the time.
True.
And so that's what I would tell them as a parent. Like, you need to really advocate for your child and stand your ground, and they're going to want to back you into a corner. And you
Mm.
still need to stand there. And sometimes you'll be standing there by yourself, because it was one thing for me to have custody, but it was
Hmm.
another thing. I made all the decisions.
Right.
So I had to really think, then I had to pray, then
Hmm.
I had to think, then I had to cry. Then I'm looking at her like, what do I do? And then, grandma would be like, I can't tell you what to do. She would tell me what
Right.
she thought, but nobody
Hmm.
wanted to be the person to be like, you should do
To
this,
make that
because if
decision.
something happened, then I'm gonna be like, oh, I'll blame you. So
Yeah.
you're the one that's actually making the decision. And you have
Wow.
to, make sure that you're making the right one.
Mm.
So
Okay. I mean that's incredible advice. That is amazing advice, and it's something that you've lived. I think my brother said your daughter was a testament to who you are. Stay strong and much love to you. Yeah, the one thing is, because we have a couple minutes left, the one thing that I want to get out to you, is that you're incredible. There's nowhere else, there's nothing else to really say, but you're incredible. You are an incredible mother. Um, I know the Sophia Alexandria Foundation is going to do amazing things. I'll support it in any way that I can. I want to encourage people to go out and get the book. Miracles Can Happen. Sophia is an author. She left her imprint on this world, so much. So it's like I said, that so many people that are adults and elders, they haven't left as big of an imprint that she's left on this earth for the 6 years that she was here. So no matter what, I know it's never pleasant. It's not pleasant. It hasn't been pleasant to lose somebody like Zofia. But the one thing I will say is that, my God, did she live and did she leave an imprint? And so I just want to say thank you to you, number one, for telling Zofia's story. Um, and thank you for doing this. I thought it was important. I thought her story was important, and your story was important, because we can't forget about the caregivers. We can't forget about the parents that go through, this with the child, or the person that they're going through this with. And then even after they transition, they still go through, so I, I just really just want to say thank you for being you, and thank you for pushing through, and your perseverance, and your strength. It's absolutely amazing, and it's uncanny. So thank you.
well, thank you. Thank you for having me and for creating a platform for people to come and share their stories. I mean, I'm always happy to share Zophia's story. If there's anyone
Hmm.
that, have a cancer child, or if they're a caregiver and they have questions, I'm always happy to help them. Certain things I
Hmm.
don't put on the page, because I don't
Hmm.
want to end up missing, like there's a lot of back stories, and there's
Hmm.
certain things that you just can't put out. And I
Of
feel like
course.
in general, with everything, you have to look beyond the photo. You have to look beyond the picture, because what you see in the hospital and what people tell you, have to look beyond that.
Of course. So, please, everybody follow her at Zofia Alexandria Foundation, on Instagram and all social media platforms. Go get the book on the website or Amazon. Donate to the foundation, please, please. So again, thank you. And we'll work together soon. You know, we're already talking about some things. So thank you. And we'll talk to you soon.
Well, thank you.
All right,
Bye.
take care. Bye.